रेकी वन नाबू हमारा नाम है विनोद लाल फैंटम रेडियो फीजी 2 हम लोग बहुत लाइक करता हुआ ये सुनता है
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Yanda Vinaka and good morning Fiji. In this bulletin, Minister reveals FMPF assurance, Health Ministry finding difficulties in repatriation, and Fiji-Australia trade on the up.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spade.
The government is likely to ask Parliament for more money to top up the $100 million funding for COVID-19 relief payouts if funds run out. Minister for Economy Aiyaz Khayum has told Parliament that the government will continue to assist Fijians who have lost their jobs due to the coronavirus. Khayum adds that Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has already indicated that tabling another appropriation bill is not out of the question.
We will continue with these schemes. And Mr. Speaker, sir, the Prime Minister has also indicated to us that if need be, if the 100 million allocation is not enough, we'll come back to this Parliament and get more approval to pay all those unemployed people.
This is because FMPF members have exhausted their withdrawal limits and rely on the $220 provided by taxpayers. He says on this trajectory, the $100 million allocation may run out by the end of the year. The second leg of FMPF payouts are 70% funded by government. Due to the lockdowns of Victoria and Melbourne, Australia, the Fijian government is facing difficulties in repatriating Fijians stranded there. FBC News had received several requests from locals asking for assistance to safely repatriate family members, which was brought to the attention of the Health Minister. Minister Dr. Ifiremi Wanganambete says all requests have been referred to the Permanent Secretary for Health and a multi-agency team within government.
Once that all begins to clear, then we're in a better space to be able to work together with all other agencies to look at ways in which they can be repatriated. But that is how it's been happening because there have been improvements in some other places where that's why when particular flights are coming through, Fijians are coming back. But again, as I've said earlier, we are aware of this and I know that the committee is aware of that.
Minister for Economy Aiyaz Khayum says the opposition is bent on seeing the demise of Fiji Airways. Speaking in Parliament, Khayum highlighted that there has been a barrage of attacks against the airline despite efforts to ensure that it survives the financial fallout of COVID-19. Edwin Nunn reports.
According to the government, Fiji Airways is fighting two battles, one against the coronavirus and the other malicious lies by politicians.
They're intentionally being hypocrites, and their sights are set on crippling our career, crippling our recovery, and crippling our economy. Also, they can point the finger at government in the next elections.
Khayum says Fiji Airways' financials, including loans and revenue projections, were laid bare when a government guarantee was debated in Parliament. He adds there was unanimous support for this at the time.
Several members of the opposition and a few self-appointed aviation experts outside of this chamber have pulled a complete 180 degrees. They're backtracking on their support to our airline, choosing instead to undermine it by taking pot shots through the rag newspaper.
We wanted to support the airline, we wanted to support the workers. And immediately after that, they kicked the guts of the workers.
The minister has also hit out at claims that the national carrier is going under because it can't pay loans.
We have politicians claiming our carrier is technically insolvent and bankrupt. Both wrong. If it was, it would not be able to access outside financing, which it has.
What he should do is to present to Parliament, all the financial statements, a detailed plan of how Fiji Airways is going to ride this through.
The government has repeatedly assured that Fiji Airways will bounce back once global passenger travels resume. Edwin Nund, FBC News.
The Education Ministry will not condone any form of mismanagement or unnecessary expenses being carried out in relation to the free education grant. This was highlighted by the Education Minister Rosie Akbar while speaking in Parliament yesterday. Akbar says they sometimes stop the schools from receiving the grants until they become compliant. She adds the ministry understands that sometimes it causes inconvenience in the operations of the school. However, they want to ensure that schools comply.
Non-compliance issues such as reporting on deadlines, submission of the financial accounts, spending details that are not updated, class audits that are not conducted.
The Ministry of Commerce and Trade is concerned with the use of the word Fiji in international jurisdiction on certain products that does not originate from Fiji. Minister Aiyaz says they have received numerous complaints in relation to trademarks registered in international jurisdiction on certain items that is not authentic to Fiji. He says the use of Fiji in such products misleads consumers to believe that it originated from Fiji and can tarnish the Fijian brand.
Not only do these businesses benefit unfairly from the use of the word Fiji as a brand name, they can even tarnish it. So if it does not uphold the standards of the actual Fijian brand, known for its quality and organic and pristine characteristics.
The National Federation Party has been given until next Friday to address possible discrepancies in their list of annual audited accounts. Party's General Secretary Seni Nambo met with the Registrar of Political Parties Mohammed Saneem yesterday afternoon to clarify their shortcomings. The variances found is believed to range from 2015 to at least the last general election. But in this particular instance, the amount of $103,049 is from 2018. Saneem says the NFP has furnished information on the list of their donors. However, the FEO has identified possible irregularities in their accounts.
They have been asked to provide the responses to those issues, and once those responses are in, we will consider them, and it may be that there needs to be some revision of the accounts to make the accounts accurate. However, we will deal with that once we have received the responses.
The level of trade between Australia and Fiji is growing even in the midst of natural hazards and the COVID-19 pandemic. This was highlighted by Australian High Commissioner to Fiji, John Feeks, as both countries vouched to boost bilateral agreements that will enhance economic activity in these trying times. Feeks says bolstering trade volume with Australia is a step in the right direction, and past trade activities have significantly contributed to Fiji's development rate.
The Australian market is very well known to Fijians. The business links between our two countries are strong, they're enduring and they're long-standing.
Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama believes it is critically important for national leaders to spend as much time as possible in direct conversation with the Fijian people. While speaking on the audit report of the Office of the Prime Minister for the year 2013-2014, Bainimarama adds that this is the best way to know what the people need and what they expect from the elected government. The Prime Minister says the appendices of the report show that projects that receive funding under the Small Grant Scheme were identified through its official tours of the various divisions and from having face-to-face discussions with the communities. Bainimarama adds that they considered certain projects under the Small Grant Scheme because they were not included in the budget for the 2013-2014 financial year, even though they were of great importance to those communities. He adds that fortunately the Small Grant Scheme gave them flexibility to move forward to meet these needs.
I've made promises to communities which I've been proud to deliver. No one is afraid of telling me what they need, and they know I will listen. They know I will take those needs seriously. And most importantly, Mr. Speaker, they know that I will not make false promises.
Up ahead, young players shine for Naitasiri, and rugby league officials suspended.
Hi, Bula. I'm Selai from Nandi. I love Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Naitasiri Rugby head coach Dr. Aiyaz will continue to give game time to the Fiji Rugby Union high-performance players in his squad. The Highlanders is one of the sides in the Skipper Cup competition with about 8 HPU players. Tuisese says these FRU pathway players like Chris Minimbi and Tuinraki Samusamu Vondre have contributed positively to the side.
Quite fortunate. There are some players who opted to play for Naitasiri this season. They're already in the Fiji Rugby Union HPU system, so it's a bonus for us. And they decide to come and play. They choose to play for us. So what we're doing is start giving them game time, because we understand they it's one of the KPIs to play in the provincial level. They can't be just training at the high performance.
The Ovalau women and under-19 rugby sides received a timely donation yesterday. Both teams received a sponsorship worth $2,000, which includes new training vests. Ovalau is participating in the Vodafone Vanua Championship, and they will complete their away games in Vanua level against Boa on Saturday.
And we are looking forward for another game, which is our coming weekend against Boa, before we head back to our home, which is the old capital of Fiji, Levuka.
We are very thankful for this partnership today, and we believe our small token of support for the Ovalau Rugby Union, we will definitely see them next year in the Skipper Cup competition.
2 Fiji National Rugby League referees have been suspended. This follows their involvement in the brawls that broke out between the McCoy Bulldogs and the Mburinitu Cowboys, as well as the Lami Steelers and the Police Sharks on Saturday. Atunaiso Luinakumbo is suspended for the entire 2020 season as a decision made by the referees panel citing his performance in handling the Bulldogs and Cowboys brawl. Referee Puasa Raver, on the other hand, is faced with a 3-year suspension after he was found guilty for striking a Lami Steelers player. FNRL Interim Chief Executive says they've laid down the most stringent measures to curb similar incidents.
They police the game of rugby league in the field of play, and we expect them to abide by the highest and strictest standard of the game. And if striking is being led by the match officials, the players could be inclined to think that we condone this type of acts.
Cricket Fiji is saddened by the passing of one of their experienced umpires. School teacher Walesi Songoiwasa passed away a few days ago and was laid to rest yesterday. Many know Songoiwasa as the face of Ratakandavulevu school sports for a number of years. However, Cricket Fiji says they have lost someone who contributed a lot to the sport.
Since we started playing cricket again in June, he's been out there every Saturday. Master Walesi is one of 2 ICC accredited umpires that we have here in Fiji. Last year and the previous years, he's been out umpiring at the East Asia Pacific Games. But he's also been sharing his knowledge and running umpiring clinics with us.
A quick look at today's weather map. It is Thursday, 3rd of September, a step closer to Friday. A trough of weak low pressure with associated cloud and showers remains slow moving in the vicinity of the group. It is expected to affect the northern parts of Vanua Levu, the eastern parts and interior of the country till later today. And that is your FBC Morning News. Join us at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. Remember, in times of crisis, you need factual news that you can trust. Stop believing fake news about the COVID-19 on social media. Fight misinformation by getting only the facts about the coronavirus from verified news sources like FBC's TV, radio and digital media news. www.fbcnews.com.fj. Keeping Fijians connected with the truth.
Nada go merere te lawa, go ngai tavua, ando talita kana vararonga na Radio Fiji 1 nando mai viti.
Radio Fiji 1 nando mai viti.